Okay, it's time for another episode of the daily. Well, I guess you say it's the daily journal, but it's a daily reading for me. I kind of interpret my thoughts from the journal I'm writing as we grow our business. We're a seven-figure business here in New Jersey. We do digital marketing, and I talk about journal entries related to the growth of the business and some strategies around this. One of the things I've really come across in the last couple of months is the momentum strategy. So if you're a growing business person or a growing entrepreneur, you want to start a business or you want to be sort of in the mood of trying to create a $1 million business, $1 million run rate per year, this might interest you. We've gone through the journey over the last couple of years to get here, and although it wasn't particularly easy, it wasn't either particularly hard. I didn't have to kill myself in order to make this position I've created for myself. But now we're in the throngs of creating our next level, which is to go to 2 million and then eventually 5 million by 2020. Now, the good thing about the marketing world is that the growth of this industry is supposed to be at, figure this number, $80 billion by 2020. It's currently around $60 billion, so it's going to grow by $20 billion over the next 5 years or so. So the strategy is to take advantage of these market spaces where you can take a plunge into an arena that's growing very quickly. And there are a lot of people entering the market, and there are some places where you want to build the tools for the people who are entering the market. There are some places where you want to build services and support the market. So we're sort of now in the services side, although as we mature as a company, we're looking at potentially building some tools to help other people who are interested in being in this industry. And that would probably be information products and community. We're trying to launch that this year, but right now we're trying to build momentum. We've, as any company has experienced, we've had our challenges with employees and building out infrastructure. But at the end of the day, it does come down to building momentum, and there's some reasons behind that. So that's the journal entry we're going to do today. And again, I thank you all for, or anybody who's listening to this right now, for continuing to participate and listen to these discussions. I hope they've been helpful. I find them valuable because it's an interesting insight into one person's mind. Whether or not you agree or not, it's another thing, but I think that the lessons we're learning here and some of the general persuasive arguments that I put together here are pretty compelling. So on with the journal entry. So building momentum. There's clearly ups and downs throughout the game of business and building. As we move along and we're getting more interested in building our business, we get interrupted. That's part of the model, right? This, what am I doing this for model, right? That's the thing that comes up, right? So getting that mantra in our root, like why in the world are you doing this? So do we get too comfortable with our own ways and then we go down another path because some other priority takes over? And it's a tough call when you're balancing things out. So discipline will help in driving the best results. I'll give you a perfect example. I have started a new diet strategy. I was noticing I was getting a little chubby. So a couple of things that I started to do is, one, I don't eat until noon. So therefore, I burn fat all the way through noon. So I've skipped breakfast. People say, oh, don't skip breakfast. I think it's the opposite because it allows your body to sort of get ready. Because we never did this when we were hunter-gatherers. We didn't eat in the morning. We went out and got food. And it took till the afternoon to find something. So I think it makes sense. But the other thing is that now I also have stand-up desks in the office. So we're putting that together. So to stay on my feet, to stay active. So this is the discipline. I've been doing this for the last couple of weeks, and I've already noticed an amazing impact. I feel better in general because I know that I'm actually not as logy, especially after like eating breakfast in the morning. And I was doing the worst. I was actually eating tons and tons of fruit, which was not the good thing to do because it's too much sugar. But anyways, we're getting back to the story. Building momentum by shifting your priority, right, and putting it in front of you. And I think this is the key. And I used to do this all the time. I'm going to start again this whole process again. Is sticking your goal on your computer monitor, like the goal for the month or the week or the day. The day might be a little tough because that would change but really what I'm thinking about is the numbers. It's easy for me to calculate that. So I'm going to put a number in front of my computer monitor again today. And that's going to help me focus in on the number that I'm trying to articulate towards. Because we're trying to replace in other people behind me to do account management, and it's difficult because we have to have the revenue for it. And we do have a decent sized revenue flow, but not enough to gain the talent that we need in order to fulfill what I call the Noah position behind me, which is actually the person who could be my counterbalance. But so if you think about this, if you had to leave on a cruise tomorrow, and a ship is leaving at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and you got a cruise to wherever, the best place in the whole planet, you would not need momentum. You would not need to build momentum. You would get your ass in gear, and you would take care of what you needed to take care of so you could get on that cruise ship tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. So the question is, why does this not happen? So we know we need to lose 20 pounds. We know we need to get to these numbers. We know. Why is there not this priority? And I think this comes down to human nature, meaning that we get comfortable, other things take over, and there's no plan and there's no pain. And I think that's the big thing. There's no pain around this. So until you go to a doctor and they say, look, you don't lose X amount of pounds, you're going to die. Well, then you take action, right? Because it makes a huge difference. So this motivational story is interesting to me because goals are part of the story, but it's not the answer. What drives momentum, I believe, is the visualization and reminders of the why. So putting down a goal is good, putting down a number is good, but putting down the why. So if I put down on my thing the number plus I put the why, which is to replace myself, now I can connect the dots and say that's the reason. So it reminds me of a time when I used to go skiing and snowmobiling, all this great stuff a couple of years ago, like 6 or 7 years ago. And all of this stuff was amazing to me now that I can't even fathom it. But we figured it out. Like on a Friday, we would be in the car, the kids would be in their seats, we'd have all the stuff packed. Somehow it all happened. And now I can't even imagine it. But there are other things that, transpire as well, which are other elements, which are the time and money allotted to that. So those things appeared because there was a priority in my life at that point. So what's the priority right now in your life? And what's the major question that you have from a momentum process? What's the focus? And what I really want to think about in my world and think about in your world is, what do you really need to drive into the focus of your why am I doing this factor, right? Life is very, very short. It's sad to see people who we know closely around us who have departed already. So excuses and being preoccupied with this delaying of this and that and procrastination and problems, we understand it, but you need to untangle those things and really find out what you want. And then get ready for that want trip. Right? So start packing now. Hey, so remember, we have a event coming up in May for Mexico, and we have a great lineup that's going to be down there. I'm very excited to go. If you have a couple of weeks, if you're listening to this, if you want to go on this trip, we have a couple of openings left. We had a couple who left who could not make it because of a family issue, so we have a couple more people, have a couple more slots available. If you want to go, let me know. Other than that, make it a great day. No. Make it a triumphant day. Right? And connect, unify, and flourish. We'll talk to you in the next episode.